Well, what is going on, gang? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Sorry about that. I bumped the table. Anyway, welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. It's very nice to have you here today. I have on the table something new from the folks at Spyderco and LionSteel, and I like this knife. I like this knife so much, I'm doing this review for a second time. Why? Because the first time I paused and didn't turn the camera back on. So there are, we do that. Anyway, let's talk about the Spyderco Slym. Now this is just an excellent little pocket knife. I really like the collaborations between Spyderco and LionSteel. One of my all-time favorite knives. I can say that because it just stands out constantly is the Spy Nano here. They did a recent drop of these and I picked one up for Women Carry Knives and I liked it so much I got one for myself. And you can definitely see the LionSteel lineage. Right? It's got similar shapes. I just really like what LionSteel does with Spyderco designs. This one stands out for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, it is a very different design aesthetic for Spyderco. It is long and lean. They tend to do, well, Spyderco's, right? Big leaf blades, big white handles. This is something else. And it's integral. It is one single piece of titanium that has been milled out for the handle. And the folks at LionSteel did a really, really good job. It's got a steel lock bar insert. It's milled out where they could to reduce weight. In other words, you got these spaces back here. It's got a reversible pocket clip. It's steel, but it's reversible. If you put it on this side, you're up against this really beautiful carbon fiber inlay, which, by the way, they did a really good job. You can feel it a little bit, but not much. It is really inlaid wonderfully. You see this little screw right here. All of the LionSteel Spyderco collaborations have the ability and the option to remove the flipper tab. Now on my Spy Opera, I went ahead and did that. On the Nano, it's useful and not very much in the way. On this one, I haven't made up my mind yet. You can, of course, Spidey flick it very easily, but the flipper works so well that, well, we'll see what happens over time. Let's take a look at what you get. Shall we? All right. First of all, oh, by the way, this is, what do they call this? This is dark matter polar fat carbon. Yeah, I don't know. It's just really cool. I like it. All right, let's take a look at what you get. We'll do the specs. You get 3 1/4 inches of cutting on 3 1/2 inches of M390. The Nano here is M398, which is slightly different steel. M390, I don't know what kind of a job really LionSteel will do with M390. I do know that I have had no complaints with their other steels, so yeah, take your chances. Grip space from behind that flipper is 3 and a little over 3 1/2. My hand does fill up the handle, right? A little overhang back here, but not much. From tip to tail, we are coming in at 7 3/4. 7 1/2 and down is a small knife. It's right in the middle. I think Women Carry Knives would call this a schmedium, small medium. I just think it's a good size. It really carries. I know we're not there yet, but look how lean that thing is, right? So in the pocket, a little bit of a flipper, but not much. It just sort of disappears. It's really well done. All right, 7 3/4 in length. Let's do some size comparison, shall we? We'll line that up right there. Well, what do we have on the table? Okay, well, here it is against the Deca. Slide that around a little bit, line that up on that line. You can see it is a little bit longer than the Deca. You get a little bit more cutting as well. How about a full-size grip, or with a nod to Metal Complex, the Ritter Hogue. As you can see, the Ritter Hogue is considerably longer, but it's mostly handle. You get the same amount of cutting. And for those of you that have the, I love this thing. This is the Pyrite from CJRB. As you can see, the Slym comes in between a lot of different things. Now, it is a frame lock. Some of you aren't going to love that. I am a frame lock fan, so it works for me. It's a relatively, I mean, it's a flat grind, right? There's a little bit of flat right back here. See that line? But other than that, it's a flat grind, but it's a very short blade this way. So it does come down to an edge very quickly. It is a reasonably thick slice of that M390. By the way, much like all the other LionSteel Spydercos, this is all crowned beautifully, right? It's just rounded off. This is a very comfortable tool to hold. It's also very pokey, if you're into that sort of thing. Don't baton this. I can hear... I got a friend out there who batons everything. This is not for that. This is a dress carry, and it's really good at that. It is very slicey, just the same. Cuts very well, too. All right. What else do we have on the table we can compare it to? A knife that I've really enjoyed owning for a very long time. Yeah, okay. This is the ZT055, 0055. Right? But the reason that's relevant is not for this. This is a GTC design brought by ZT. We makes a GTC that happens to be an integral. So as you can see, the Slym is in fact slim. It is a relatively small, lightweight carry. It's very good at what it does. The action is very good. It's very positive when you close it, right? The blade's relatively light, so you got to kind of ask it doesn't drop so much, right? You can see that. But once you slap it down, it catches in the detent. No wiggle, no rock. No wiggle, no rock. Mine came just dead centered, which is really nice. Now, these are about $280, $277. And that is not an insignificant amount of money, but when you get into integral blades, integral, I don't know, you are paying a lot for the engineering, because when you take a single piece of titanium and mill it completely so that you have a flexible lock bar and space for the blade and room to get in and get the pivot in play, all of that, it takes energy and effort from the manufacturing side that a standard two-sided pocket knife does not. So you're going to pay for that a little bit. In this case, at less than $300, I think you are definitely coming out on the positive side of that transaction. This is really, really a nice knife. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it when I got it. Because I collect Spydercos and because it's new, I was like, yep, I'm going to get one of those. But I thought maybe I'll keep it for a little while and then trade it or sell it or do whatever. But nope. This fills a niche in my collection, which is small, easy to carry, lightweight pocket knives. It's not going to replace my love of the Spy Nano. This thing is just fantastic, but it definitely serves a purpose. Speaking of the action, it's kind of a stiff action. In other words, when you can't just, it won't fall out, it won't flop. So you definitely want to give it some positive energy, right? But man, when it snaps, it's really good. Before we move on to whatever else we're going to do, they say this is PVD coated, so it's not just raw titanium. I assume that that's the truth. As you can see, it is a little darker than standard titanium. It's beautifully done, if that is the case. There is absolutely no mars, no scratches, no nothing. I do love that it has an over-travel stop built into the steel lock bar insert, which is a really nice touch. We are locked up at about 40%. Plenty of life left in that, which is good. It's got a lanyard spot, if you're into that sort of thing. I don't lanyard, but you might. Stuff like this makes me happy. I think that Spyderco, of course, you may have seen the review for this already drop. This is the Sage 6. This is very Spyderco, right? Top to bottom, very Spyderco. When they invite another company into the mix, you get a variation on the theme that just works. They've been working with LionSteel for a long time, and I am a fan. And you might be too. If you're interested in a lean, well-made, pocket knife in great materials. It's expensive, but it's not like stupid expensive. It's just pricey. I think you will find great satisfaction in picking one of these up for yourself. Let's go ahead and weigh it out while we've got it on the table. Now, again, I mentioned earlier that they did this extra, like the lock bar, there's a fairly large space there, for instance, and they milled these holes in the back. Part of that is because there is really no way to mill inside the scales, so integrals tend to be heavy. You know, the solid here from Wii is an example. This thing is hefty. There's a review of this coming down the road a bit. All right, let's see. The Slym weighs in 3.4 ounces. Again, for a 3.5 inch, 3.25 inches of cutting, 3.5 inch blade. 3.5 ounces is pretty much 3.4 ounces is pretty much right on the money for ounce per inch. I don't care really about that. Knife gets above about 7 ounces, I start to be really aware of it in my pocket. But if you're wearing dress pants, or you're wearing lighter jeans, that weight will matter. And so this is an excellent option for that. I do wish they'd have just not put both Spyderco and LionSteel on the blade. But, for instance, on the Nano, you've got the LionSteel labeling on one side and then just the logo on the other, which I think might have been a good choice, but whatever. I love the shape of this, right? It's very neutral. Right? It's kind of squared off. You absolutely know which way the knife is facing in your hand by the shape of the handle, and that's cool, particularly in low light situations. The little bump right here where the Spidey hole goes gives your thumb a place to land if you're back on the handle a little bit, and actually gives your thumb a place to land pulling. So when you're doing like cuts this way, it gives you kind of a natural resting spot right here, which is a nice feature. Got a little tiny stop pin right there, but it locks up very positively in that space, which is nice. I think this is an excellent knife. They really surprised me with this thing. Anyway, how much of that M390 do they give you? Well, back here at the thickest point, 3.4 millimeters, or 130 thousandths. That's not bad, right? That's a reasonably thick slice of steel on a knife this small. I honestly thought it was going to be smaller than that, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And that's where we're going to end it. This is the Spyderco Slym, something new from the folks at Spyderco and LionSteel. If you're interested, I'll put a link in the description where you can go find one. I think they're sold out at Blade HQ, but I'll put a link anyway. You can maybe poke around and find one for yourself. Keep in mind, gang, these aren't affiliate links. I just post links to where I found the thing, so you can go look there yourself. I appreciate your time today. If you have any questions about this or any of my knives, feel free to ask down in the comments below, and we'll see you next time. Take care.